Hey, it's your boy Drew. So today, I would like for us to have a conversation about dating, and I wanted to get a few male perspective. The reason why I wanted to get with some gentlemen is because, I put this video on TikTok, and it was about 80% of men are unattractive to women. And I got a lot of interesting comments, both from men and women. So I wanted to kind of dive a little bit further into the male perspective on some of the thoughts, some of the comments that were actually posted there. But before we get into that, so your name is Marcelo. You're from Chicago?
No, so I'm born and raised in Dallas, Texas.
Texas.
Yes, I currently study in Chicago. I go to Loyola Chicago.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
Working here in New York.
Chicago. I love that. That's very cool. So you're born in Dallas, Texas. I've been in Dallas twice in Dallas. And I had like a layover. I was flying from Los Angeles to New York, and I had a layover in Dallas. So you were born and raised in Dallas, and you lived there all your life?
Yeah, pretty much. That was my base of operations growing up. I mean, I would go to Mexico and visit my family and be with them like a couple months out of the year every year.
Your family's from Mexico. What part of Mexico is your family from? Like I know parts of Mexico.
My mom's from Monterrey and my dad's from Veracruz. So she's from
heard of both of them. Okay, Monterrey and Veracruz.
It's on the southern end, on the Gulf side, near the Yucatan Peninsula.
Okay, yeah. So confession: when I was young, I was obsessed with Mexico. There was a show called Acapulco Heat that I was obsessed with as a kid. Anyway, so you're majoring in what at?
I'm double majoring in finance and accounting on a pre-law track.
Okay, very cool. Why did you decide to go into that out of curiosity?
Well, I've always had this inclination towards law. I always kind of thought like I wanted to be a lawyer and I wanted to go to law school. And so my thoughts really, I wanted to either do corporate law or patent law. And if I'm doing corporate, I might as well have a background in like business, know how to move numbers, things like that. And I thought it would complement well.
Interesting. So my last question before we dive right in, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, is what is your astrological sign?
I'm a Pisces.
You're a Pisces like me.
Oh, nice. We both are.
When is your birthday?
March 8th.
Stop lying. That's my birthday. I love it. This is so amazing. I love that. Wow, you're a fellow fish like me, and we happen to have the same birthday, which is International Women's Day or something in the United States. How cool. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Okay. So, like I had mentioned before, I released this video on TikTok. It's nearing like 3,000 views, and it's getting a lot of like contentious, interesting comments between men and women. And it was about 80% of men are unattractive to women. Upon first hearing that thought, what do you think about that?
I'm not surprised to hear it, but I also think that number's inflated.
Why do you say that?
Because I think generally women are attracted to the terms high value man, and so they really shoot for like the top 20%, right? Really, they end up liking guys for different reasons. And so even though they shoot for that, they'll talk to some random guy at a bar and like his personality, and they'll hit it off, and she'll fall for him. And that's why that happens. They'll say they want the top 20 because they really do, but they'll fall for the person that really compliments them or someone who really gets them. And so I think that's why the numbers inflate.
Okay, so I did a 15 to 20 minute video about this topic on my YouTube channel, and basically a bunch of women were surveyed about the different reasons why they find different things attractive. And it was a TikTok survey that revealed that 80% of women kind of targeted 20% of the guys. And so I think that might have been the foundation or the basis of that conversation. There are some other YouTube personalities that say it's more like 90% of men are unattractive to women, but I couldn't find any stats that could back that up. So do you think that dating is difficult for you nowadays?
Personally, no.
Okay. All right. So the reason why I asked that is because there's a YouTube personality and dating coach. His name is Matthew Hussey. And he says that 95% of guys, they don't approach women because we're in this Me Too era. They don't want to come across as creepy. Maybe they see the women with their friends or they're with their gay best friend. So they often don't want to approach women. So 5% of the guys that don't care about any of that are the ones that are often approaching women. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think that's very true. When I was younger, I had insecurities. I felt nervous talking to girls and approaching women and all this. And it was something that I had to kind of overcome with myself. And I think a lot of men still do. I really think they have to make a conscious effort towards that.
So what do you think women could do to help men feel more comfortable approaching them?
Well, I think it really varies from women to women and what they want, what they're looking for. I really think being more open. So like, say you're in groups, right? Like you go to a bar or club where everyone stays with their friend groups. If it's a group of guys, they'll be like, okay, we're the girls, let's look. And a guy will go up to them and everyone's, laughing, teasing, gonna get shot down because it's like everyone gets blocked out. So if a girl sees a guy that she likes, it's, better for them to open up their body language a little bit, be a little bit more welcoming. So like to give that welcoming sense and allow someone to approach, because if they block themselves off, more often than not, they're not going to go up to them.
Right. So I also went to Washington Square Park a few weeks ago, and I was interviewing a lot of people about this very topic as well, just randomly in the street. And I did think it was interesting that a lot of women said kind of the same thing, but it seems like a lot of guys feel like women don't give enough choosing signals. What do you think about that?
I think that's interesting because it really is a matter of perspective. In a sense, when you don't really know how to read those signals or read women and what they want, you're just gonna hit a wall. You're not gonna know what's gonna happen. You're not gonna know when someone likes you, when someone doesn't. And so right now in the dating world, men have to adapt. They have to learn how women work. And honestly, I think it's a very biological and natural thing. Men as well as women have to learn for men, but men really have to be able to read women, read their eyes, their body language, and kind of feel a flow with them. It's not really like a set in stone word robotic thing. It's a lot of hormones and emotions, and you have to learn how to balance that and manage and navigate it. And it's difficult, but once you get the hang of it, you get really good at it.
Have you ever heard of the manosphere?
No, I've never heard of the manosphere.
Okay, so the manosphere is, and to read the dictionary, Wikipedia definition is, the manosphere, also called androsphere, is an umbrella term that covers many different male-dominated online communities, vlogs, and blogs. The main reason they formed is because mainstream society seems apathetic to male-specific issues, and because males realize that males are disposable. Due to the negative byproducts of male disposability, many manospherian content creators, particularly vloggers, are proponents of off-grid lifestyle as a way of guarding themselves against said negative byproducts, such as societal apathy to male-specific problems. Given that definition, do you think that there's any truth to the notion that society is largely apathetic to male-specific issues?
Yeah, I think that it's very apparent in society. I think you'd have to be blind not to see it in some ways.
Could you give me an example?
A good one is really men's mental health. It's been coming into the light more, which is a good thing to see. But beforehand, men would bury this deep down inside. And I think this is why there's also a lot of bad men in the world, because they hold everything in, all this trauma. And when they get older, it comes out and they can't control it. And it causes them to make mistakes and do wrong things. And so I think really the fact that society is apathetic to male issues is what's causing a lot of problems.
There were many different responses that men had specifically to the video I put on TikTok. So I wanted to kind of address some of them with you and see what your thoughts were on that. One gentleman said, women just want provider men. But then they also claim that they want equality. Do you think that that's possible or true?
I think it is possible, but it also depends what they define as equality, right? And what they really define as the provider man. What do they want out of the relationship? Do they want to be pampered and treated like a princess and taken care of? That's kind of the definition the provider man has been given, to do that for their woman. And as for equality, true equality would be a provider man and a provider woman. So it is a tricky question to navigate.
If women want a provider man, wouldn't that by default mean they don't want equality?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
You don't have to answer that, but in case you don't want to incriminate yourself. But I just was curious about,
It's something to think about, but I can't give a clear answer. I'd have to formulate my thoughts really, because that's a loaded question. It's a heavy one.
Okay, so I'll let that rest right there.
Let it sit.
The next comment that came up was, they said many women want above average men and they themselves are average. Do you think it's true that women want above average men, meanwhile women themselves that are wanting the above average men are average, if not below average themselves?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I think it's true for both sexes, actually. Everyone wants something better, something higher, right? They always aim up, because why would you aim down? Okay. It doesn't make sense. I think it's normal for everyone.
Okay. Other gentlemen said that women believe that they are the prize in a relationship, when in actuality it's men that are the prize in relationship. What do you think about that?
I honestly,
I know. I'm like, these dudes are.
I really don't believe in the idea of one or the other being a prize in a relationship. I've come to the point in my life where the relationship I look for is it's a partnership. The person I want to be with, I need them to complement. I need them, like, I will have my strengths and my weaknesses and they will too. And together we form the team. They cover my weaknesses and I cover theirs. So really it's like this partnership where we fill each other's gaps instead of one being the prize and one, having the prize.
Good answer. That's a good answer. Can men and women come to an understanding of needing each other?
Yes, I definitely think they do. I think there's really an emotional maturity that the majority of the world needs to reach, where this is not just men and women, but relationships in general. The whole, it all goes back to the idea of complementing each other. And the truth is we all need each other. In our relationships, the other person fills our gaps, and that's how we become whole.
Another gentleman said many women often rate themselves a 10 on the scale of 1 to 10, but men often think they are more aligned, these women that rate themselves as a 10, as a 4 to 6. Is that something you found to be true? Like women think they're 10s, but they're really like a 4 or a 5?
Before I answer that, I have a question for you. How would you rate yourself?
Oh, turning it around on me. How would I rate myself?
Yeah.
I think I would give myself a 6, slightly above average.
Okay, why is that?
I'm 6'3", so that right there puts me in a height category above most guys. My face is relatively symmetrical, but I don't have like thick, bushy eyebrows, and I don't have I don't have like a supremely defined jaw right here. And I have a smaller neck, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I would be like, yeah, I'm 6. Is what I would give myself. Slightly above average, but average-ish.
Yeah, fair.
How about you give yourself?
Yeah. I mean, a 10. Not actually. I really don't believe in ratings. People have discussed types and having certain types being into different things, and I believe that's very true. There is no set scale for beauty or what someone should look like. So everyone has what they like, and it's always going to be different. And I honestly think that's a way of weeding out partners that you shouldn't be with. The people who are meant to be there for you will come into your life because of your personality, your traits, your beliefs, and what you look like.
Another gentleman said, confidence can make you more attractive than your wallet. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Confidence is king. Confidence is king all day.
So if you make $20,000 a year, if you're just confident, like, I don't know, Aquaman, the money you make won't matter. Your confidence is all that matters.
I'm living proof of this, because I think confidence can take you anywhere. It really can. And so if you're comfortable in your own skin, if you can make yourself a confident person, then people will be attracted to that confidence because you're like a rock. You're stable, and they need something to hold on to.
What do you think about feminism? And do you think feminism has helped or hurt the dating chances of men and women?
Define feminism.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
all right. So I guess what I mean is like the current iteration of feminism has taken it to a level that is feminism requires or asks for equality in every sense of the word. Feminism require, and that's how I feel about feminism internally. But I have observed it seems like media is perpetuating a feminism mantra that is like taken to a whole other level. Where it's like, for example, I was watching a YouTube video recently where this woman was at the gym and she was taking off her top. I don't know if you saw this. And I guess these two guys were like maybe 30 feet away or something and observed her taking off her top. She was obviously an attractive woman, a very nice body, blah, blah, blah. And I guess they glanced at her and she looked back and she was like, "Can I help you?" And one of the gentlemen that had glanced at her had worked at the gym, and he was like, "Is there a problem?" And then a slight altercation ensued, and he was like, "You're being rude. I work here. I'm going to ask you to leave." But it feels like her chastising someone for looking at her is an example that typifies what many think the social media is perpetuating of feminism today. Does that make sense? So you kind of understand where I'm going with the question of feminism hurting or helping dating. So that's what I kind of mean. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I definitely think there's this very vocal minority in the feminist community that's perpetuated this more toxic outlook on it that's pushed by the media. I completely agree with that. Feminism as a whole, I completely believe and agree with it. Men and women, we're different. We're still people. People are people. I think in ways, the view of feminism that social media has really portrayed has hurt dating in many ways, because it will scare off people who, like I said, confidence is king. Not all men have confidence to pull out of anywhere. They're going to be a little bit more nervous. They're going to think about these things. They're going to be, I don't want to cause any problems. I don't want to come off as, rude or aggressive or anything like that. I think it definitely does affect things.
I would have to agree. I've talked to a few guys who have expressed sentiments where they won't look at women, they'll look away, and I'm just kind of like, so at the expense of not trying to sound Neanderthalic, but it feels or seems like testosterone is a hormone that makes guys want to hunt and kind of actively seek out women. So when guys are suddenly feeling like they can't look at you, they can't hunt, it seems like antithetical to how a man is supposed to behave. So that's why I feel like the extreme iterations of feminism is a loud minority that is causing a lot of guys to behave unmanly in many ways, which I find very interesting.
I completely agree. And this is this is also in the media. There's all this talk about toxic masculinity, which it is a thing, but that's just masculinity that isn't controlled.
Yep.
You need good masculine men in the world who have everything under control, who are calm and who can use it for good, right? And so I think there's also adverse effects to that's also being perpetrated.
Okay, so I had some interesting questions from women that I wanted to share with you. Let's say you thought that you were a 6 or a 5. Do you think you should have access to women who are above a 6 or a 5 in ranking?
Yeah, it's a free game. Everyone, you can take your shot at anyone, right? They can turn you down, sure. If I get turned down, so what? Move on, go to the next one. I really don't think there should be a cap like, oh, she's too pretty, you can't go for her, you're not allowed to. I don't think that exists. It goes back to the confidence thing. If you have confidence, it doesn't matter on the whole rating thing. You could be a 1, you could be a 10, you could be a 5. If you have confidence, you can pull it off.
Remind me how old you are again?
I'm 20.
Oh my God, I wish I was like this at 20. Good for you. I agree with you. Okay. Are men entitled to beautiful women?
No one's entitled to anything.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Everyone, you can work as hard as you want for whatever you want and you still won't get it. Like, that's life. It's not always going to be fair. And I think this sense of entitlement that people have should really be thrown out the window altogether.
Do women owe men beauty?
It goes back to the thing, define beauty, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everyone has a different perspective of beauty. So I get what you're trying to say though. like, should women, like clean up their whole image for the man and everything? And honestly, no one should do anything. But if women are shooting higher to an above average man, the above average man isn't going to want a woman who doesn't clean up for him and doesn't put forth an effort for him when he's putting forth an effort for her.
What qualities do you value in women?
Intelligence. For better or for worse, intelligence. I love an intelligent woman, but they will run circles around me and confuse me, and I'm fine with it sometimes.
I think I know the answer to this question, but you obviously ask women on dates, right? Give me an example of a typical way that you would ask a woman on a date.
Let's say I meet someone on a dating app. I talk to them a little bit. If we have good riff, if we have good banter, I will say, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Can I have your number? Or would you be available this day to go out?
Your typical platform for asking women on dates is online.
Yes and no. I mean, it's honestly 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah. So the whole thing, like if I see a girl that I think looks really pretty and I just happen, like say I'm in a bar or something and I go talk to this girl and I get along well with her, we talk to her, I was like, I'll ask her for a number. If I get it, we'll text for a little bit and I'll be like, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Let's go get dinner. And then from there we go.
Are you single?
I am single, yes.
So you are single, ready to mingle.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Marcelo, for taking your evening to have a conversation with me. I thought it was really wonderful. I look forward to having many more conversations like this in the future. Hope that maybe you find your wife because of this conversation. That would make me so happy.
That would be funny. You definitely get a free invite, open bar.
For the wedding. I love it. And the fact that we both have the same freaking birthday, that is nuts. That is so crazy.
Strange coincidence.
I will link your social media and all those good things. I'm going to have further conversations and we can bridge this gap between the male and the female dynamic and all this contention between dating and whatnot. I hate it. And as a gay dude, a lot of people are like, why do you care? Because healthy relationships between men and women form healthy children. And some of those kids are going to be gay.
Yeah.
I'm the product of a relationship between a man and a woman, you know? Yeah. So that's why I'm a huge advocate and proponent for this. Okay. You take care.